And welcome back to part 5 of Bloodborne. This time we're going to head towards Hemwick Charnel Lane, deal with the witches of Hemwick and get the ability to upgrade ourselves instead of just our weapons. This is the first full-on optional area of the game. Where I'm going to be heading you do not have to go to if you don't want to. The next main area of the game will be the Forbidden Woods, but we won't be going there for a little while. Firstly, you're going to see me take a detour and actually go the opposite direction, because I'm going to deal with some NPCs, other hunters that you can find around. I'm going to try and deal with them sooner rather than later, and the fact that this crow's got my echoes shows I've already died to these hunters once. Because down here there's two hunters. One of them's got a Tarantus, and the other I think's got a cane. The one with the electric ball and staff, that's a Tarantus. And it hurts. I try and pull the AI here, because although it's dangerous to get yourself trapped here, the AI, it's like programming, has issues when it's here. And you'll see what I mean, like when I start going back to it. The AI starts having serious issues of how to handle being here. Like, it just doesn't know what to do, so eventually I just start cheesing it with the Ludwig blade, and this is the easy way of dealing with the Tarantus hunter. This is me just seeing if he can get him to get to attack so I can get a free visceral, but it doesn't seem to be happening, so I just... This is where I realised that they're actually stuck on this one little piece of scenery, so I could probably infinitely just do this, which is exactly what I do. And there you go. That's the first hunter. There is another hunter in the area. And if you get both of them to aggro on you straight away, then, well, have fun. But they did drop bolt paper, so now we can put electric on our weapon, have a much easier time with kin enemies. This prick's main threat isn't the spear that he's got, it's the gun, because he shoots it all the fucking time. It wasn't a cane, he has a spear gun. And that's the gun side of the spear gun kicking in. There is also a kidnapper not too far from here, so be careful where you walk, because you don't want to aggro a kidnapper as well as these two hunters. Oh, that would be interesting to try and survive. I'd love to see if someone can do that, aggro all three and then fight all three of them. The kidnappers are hard enough. Eventually I just say fuck it and just dive in there and start carving him to bits, but I'm trying to play it cautiously at first. And that's why you gotta be careful, because you can actually get parried and visceraled yourself. And you see, I went full blast there, and he managed to get frame advantage through the attack to hit me. And he's also a prick who's got way too much ammo for his own good. I can only assume it's because he's got an AI, but I'm sure he has more than 20 bullets. Oh, he moved away. I'm very cautious early game with my healing. Like, later on you'll see there'll be points where I'll be on low health but just be tanking it through anyway. But early game I am quite cautious because of how quickly it can drop. And there goes that one. And he drops a shit ton of bullets. Fair enough for how much he tried to shoot at us. This is one of the doors that the tonsil stone can be dropped from. Unfortunately it doesn't, so I just keep moving. If you want to get access to the Nightmare Frontier, you do need to actually start checking these locations for the Tonsil Stone, because it'll spawn at one of them at random. That's another door the Tonsil Stone could be at. And up here's the Kidnapper that you can accidentally aggro if you move too close. At this point I'm a bit more confident to deal with them, because I'm a bit stronger than you was when you meet the first one. But I'm still relatively cautious, as you can see. I'm not diving into anything. I'm not committing to any attacks until I know I've got the visceral in. I'm surprised I didn't get hit there. Oh, he's aggroed. If a kidnapper goes like into full aggro mode, you want to try and deal with them immediately before they can actually get off an attack, because they will start doing very vicious combos, and then there you go. These guys will shoot at you, which is why it's better to go along the left here to quickly deal with them. To be fair, I know my upload schedule's kind of gone to shit again, but it's more to do just because I got Uncharted 4 the other day and I've been playing the shit out of that. And that's me getting hit on a dodge attack. You know I said they do extra damage if you get caught on the dodge being hit? Yeah, that's that much more it did. The only reason I'm going back up here is first of all to get the spider, and secondly because I didn't kill the dude shooting. Although I don't think I really needed to kill the spider. I've got enough bloodstone shards at this point in the game. The only other thing I'll really upgrade is the gun, but the gun isn't a priority. The sword is for me. But that's just because I'm doing a skill/strength build. I know some people will be doing blood tinge or arcane, although I can't recommend arcane. Like, because the amount how long you have to go without much for arcane, I don't think it's worth chasing an arcane run. Like, it's alright to put a bit into your arcane, so when you get some magic you've got some stuff to play with, but other than that I wouldn't recommend it. I think at this point I'm just showing off that there's an amygdala down here, but this is what you need the tonsil stone for. There's a being in that building behind these two executioners. And in that building there's, like I said, the giant being will pick you up and carry you off to the lecture building, which, well, you can get access to in Nightmare Frontier. But we don't have the tonsil stone, so it will just flat out kill us if we go in there. So I'll show it, but you don't have to do what I'm doing here. I'm only doing it to show it off. So, but yeah, the only reason I haven't really been uploading much is because of Uncharted 4. I picked it up because it was on sale at the game shop local to me. And yeah, I've just been playing the shit out of that, and I've really enjoyed Uncharted 4. Well, I've already recorded Uncharted 1 for the channel, and it'll probably be quite some time before I record 2, 3, then eventually 4. But yeah, 4's brilliant. I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely the longest Uncharted. Noticed that one quite quickly. Because it's longer than Uncharted 2, and Uncharted 2 was already the longest Uncharted by a long stretch up until 4. Yeah, this down there is where the amygdala is. I just get here and then I bold Hunter's Mark out of there and so on. But I have got 25,000 blood echoes, so I think I'm going to upgrade a little bit.
Farewell, may you find.
I'm noticing a lot on the playback that I'm not the most patient player on this. I do just rush through and get through it. Which I guess is helpful on you guys, so I'm not twiddling my thumbs for ages going through it, but still. That gravestone we just ran past there, that was on the corner, that's your DLC gravestone when we access it much later on. I think I'm just going to end up buying more bullets. Yep. I was still kind of concerned after the blood-starved beast at that point, for how little bullets I had then, that I started being even more cautious and buying more bullets than I probably need. This time we're going to head over to Hemwick, Charnel Lane, I think. I hope. Don't make a liar out of me, old me. As I make a little hop and a jump. I should have brought blood vials. Look, I've got 18. Unless I died again along the way, which is always a possibility. Bloodshot eyeball, that's great for getting the later chalices. If you start chasing chalice dungeons, more bold hunter's mark, I'll always appreciate that. Stops me from having to buy them if you can just get the freebies from Eileen and the odd loot drop when I can speak. Right, there's a lot of dogs here and a lot of guys with guns, so just be aware. Like, the dogs aren't much of a problem because they're still kind of the weaker kind of dogs. It's just the gun people, because they're all in just the right position to get good shots on you. Yeah, as you saw there, as I was attacking up the other guy shot at me because he was just in range. And then the dogs aren't much of a problem. They're not like some of the dogs later on that like perfect time you and can just jump on you just as you finish your attack to get the most damage out of you. There's also the odd barrel around, and barrels explode if they get hit by gunshots, so be wary that they might shoot at that instead of you, just to try and get the explosive damage off. And these guys are all dropping bullets, so I'm quite content. They can also drop lead elixirs, which for those who don't know what it is, it just heavily ups your poise, which is how much damage you have to take before your character staggers. So if you take it, your character probably won't stagger by anything. Like, there's probably like some super strong attack that you might stagger to, but other than that, you should be fine. Oh, look at me nearly diving with a bullet to the face. Yeah, that was me playing the safe game, getting out of there quickly. But yeah, it ups your poise, but it doesn't actually up your defense. Don't think just because now you won't flinch to hits that you're going to take less damage. You'll take the same damage. So the only time I can really recommend it is if you're really ridiculously high leveled and you just want to bum rush a boss before it kills you. But other than that, just don't bother. This isn't Dark Souls 1, unfortunately, where you can just get really good armor, really good poise, and then just tank your way through everything. Anytime there's more than one dog, I do recommend being more cautious, because it's not like in areas where there's more than one normal human enemy, because you can just all sort of wipe them out together. The dogs will attack at different times, so if your swinging might be on time for one, but it won't be for the other. So you do have to show a lot more caution, especially because near the end of Hemwick Charnel Lane, there's a point where there's about 6 dogs, and the best way to deal with them is just to try and lure them one by one, because if you just attack them all at once, so have fun. You'll probably die. But here's our lantern. This is the only natural lantern in Hemwick Charnel Lane. The only other lantern is at the end of the boss when we take out the Witches of Hemwick. Speaking of Witches of Hemwick though, I have very effective... I actually have an effective strategy that can work for people that I can show you. And I actually do it in this part as well, because there's 2 ways of dealing with the Witches of Hemwick. The first way is what the game expects you, and the second way is my way. The way they expect you to deal with it is when you enter it, just get on with the fight, deal with all the minions it spawns, and go from there. Because the moment you enter the fight, because it counts as entering a boss arena, it gives you 1 insight. So no matter what, you'll have at least 1 insight for the fight, and all the minions the witches spawn can only spawn in if you have insight. Here's the other tonsil stone location that you could spawn in, so check that. Anyway, as I was saying, so if you go into the fight and then use a bold hunter's mark or just let yourself die, but I recommend a bold hunter's mark so you can keep your blood echoes, and then go back to the hunter's dream and spend your insight, when you go back it won't give you another insight because you've already entered the boss arena once. So then you'll have 0 insight, so the witches can't spawn any minions, and that makes an already pretty easy fight even easier. But I'll show you what I mean when we get to it, 'cause it's still a little run, but that's like the best way that I know of that you can deal with the witches. They're also weak to fire as well, so go for that as well while you're at it if you just want to speed it up. Oh, I missed. To be fair, I ended up getting stuck here on my blind run because I thought this was a part of like the next part of the main game. I didn't realise that this was an optional area, so when I reached the end of it and it was a dead end, I was stuck for a little while because I wasn't aware that this is optional. This is not the main path. So you don't have to follow all of this. The Forbidden Woods, which is in a few parts yet, because we've still got Hyperion Gaol and the Nightmare Frontier before I tackle the Forbidden Woods properly. But when we get to that, that's the next main bit. All the areas from here till then is optional, so you don't have to follow it if you don't want to. Just wait it out until I eventually upload the Forbidden Woods. That's a nice little drop there, so you don't get rushed. You can actually rush them. Here's a fun bit of trivia. This group of crows over here, oh no, not this one, the next little group of crows here, one of them will never aggro on you. You're going to see me just brute. That first one I just killed will never aggro on you. It will never attack you. It will just sit there. And I've no idea why that one in particular will never attack you. It's the only one I'm aware of in the game that never attacks. But you just only brutally murder it in one go, so I didn't really get to show it off, but that's because I wasn't 100% aware of it. It was on my run I did just after this, on my main file, that I realised he actually never aggros. Fun fact, that enemy's AI is slightly different. It's not programmed to necessarily hurt you, it's programmed to push you, to try and push you off this cliffside and fall to your death. Which is dickishly clever, but it's still dickish. Do I get the parry here? Because it's still on a rock, I'm not sure if I got the visceral for that. The other warning is that there are enemies hiding in here. And you will just get like sort of attacked from all sides if you don't pay attention. Like there's one here. I think there's a dog near the end. Yeah, there it is. And you can hear a wheelchair spinning. That's because there's a room directly above where we were. There an enemy is. I think I'm actually going to go check out. Once I kill the spider and get the loot here. Oh, twin shard, brilliant. You're going to start seeing twin shards a bit more often now. Because we're in like phase 2 of the game, so of course you're going to get like the second tier of upgrade materials. There's the wheelchair guy. Ooh, more Madman's knowledge. They want you to really bump up your insight prior to the Witch of Hemwick fight. So just to give the witches an advantage. I mean, if you're up for it, go for it. 'Cause the witches, as much as I think it's a really shit fight, it can be a bit more interesting if you up your insight a lot so they can summon loads of minions. But that's not the only thing going for it, if you allow that to happen, which this enemy will also try and push you off. So that's the only thing that really going for that boss. It's a pathetically easy fight. But that might just be me. I might be just clicking on something that other people don't. Because I know I have that of certain bosses where there's just some bosses I find really hard that other people find quite easy. There's a lot of enemies up here and they can kill you quite quick, which is why I've gone for Molotov, just to get some base damage out there before shit gets too real. In saying that, if I remember rightly, this kind of goes to shit anyway. So I nearly die there. Yeah, I back off around the corner here, just so then I can catch my breath and try and reorganise. This is the one I was thinking of that went to shit. Oh, shot too soon. I think this guy actually falls off the cliff. Yeah. Oh, never mind. If he had any items on it, we're not getting them now. It'd probably only be blood vials, which I could do with because I've only got 14 on me now. Ow. Ow. That's one thing I love. They never think about where their Molotovs are going to go. They just throw them. Ow. Never underestimate your enemies. This one I always remember, like when I sort out whatever the hell I'm doing. There's always an enemy that comes out of this little room. I was equipping fire paper, I wonder why. Unless I was planning on using it for the witches, but this isn't the same when I deal with the witches. My mindset usually is just to access the shortcut and then go for the witches if I feel comfortable, and with how many blood vials I've got and that massive chunk from the executioner, I'm not sure if I wouldn't have gone for it. But then this was recorded a relative time ago, so it's still coming back to me a bit, and I'm having a really bad time parrying this executioner. My word. There we go. Oh, fuck's sake, game. Oh, that was just pitiful. There we go. Is it enough to kill? I think it is. Yep. And we get some blood vials back. Yeah, that big gate behind us, that's the shortcut that I'm on about that I usually open. I'm gonna have an easier time with him. No, I dodged past him instead of at him. Too soon. Too late. Hey. That should be enough to kill. Executioners drop a lot of blood echoes if you want to grind off them. I keep on going to call them souls, I'm sorry, but it's practically souls. You don't have to beat around the bush here, it's souls. There's another executioner back here, by the way. If you avoid him and carry on moving up, he will actually turn around and chase you up here, so it's better to just deal with him. Ooh, blood gemstone. So if you head up here, as soon as these start attacking, the executioner will turn around and chase. And it's the same for the other one. Once you beat the witches, if you use the spawn point there, and then start heading back, the thing will start sprinting up as you start working your way out the little building at the top. I'm cleaning the area out. That pillar to our right, remember that later when we get the Canehurst summons, remember it. This is the bit where there's like 6 odd dogs, so I try and aggro a small portion of them, but not all of them, because then I can deal with them better. Because if you get all of them that aggro on you, you sort of get barraged, as you're going to sort of see here. But not all of them are aggro, just like now practically all of them are aggro, so now I'm panicking a little bit just because they can kill me quite quick. Which is part of the reason why I've gone to Ludwig's Holy Blade and just started massacring them. I'll say the whole sword's Ludwig's Holy Blade, it's just the broad end. I'll say there's 5 dogs, not 6, because the 5th one's over here. And this is the last one if I recall. But still, quite a big threat if all of them aggro on you. Right, usually I get the glyph thing here and then I bold hunter mark, but I recall as I pick it up that I haven't opened up the shortcut yet. So yeah, there you can get the lake glyph or rune or whatever the hell they call it in this, which I think just ups your physical defense once equipped, but you can't equip them until you beat Witches of Hemwick. Which might be the reason why they made them so easy, because they wanted players to actually get these so you could put stuff on your armour to give you a boost. There's me opening the shortcut after I play with the Executioner's corpse. Oh, I'm going to head off and actually do that trick now, I think. I'm going to get the extra insight from the boss door and then I'm going to bold hunters out of there. If you linger around here and destroy these boxes, a spider will drop down from the top bit there for you to attack. It's not a secret, say secret rules, but it's cool enough. Right, as soon as the boss counts as starting, just use your bold hunter's mark, because that monster thing that spawned in front of us will no longer be able to spawn if we get rid of all our insight. From there I just quickly go back, go to the insight shop and burn out all of my insight. Now the Witches of Hemwick are useless and you can just massacre them freely. And we've also upgraded Ludwig's Holy Blade to the maximum we can upgrade it as of right now, because we're not going to get bloodstone chunks until quite a lot later in the game. Do a last bit of upgrading. Oh, I go all out on the health for that bit. Oh. The Tomb Prospect armor that I can buy now, I do recommend if you're following along to keep it up, because it has got a better base defense than the armor I'm currently using. The only reason I stick to this is the frenzy resistance, really, because the Tomb Prospector's armor really drops in frenzy resistance. and it can make certain situations later on much harder if you decide to stick with it. At this point I'm literally only showing the run back with the shortcut included, so if you're following along you know where to head once the shortcut's open to use it. And a lot of these enemies have got really piss poor. This thing here, the ogre, is the only thing that's really a threat along the way, because the executioners aren't really going to try and give that much chase as we move along. The only exception being the third one on the right turn as we go up, just because, but that's in this AI scripting to run up this hill once you move ahead. Oh, I just take a Molotov to the face. And now with 0 insight we can take on the Witches of Hemwick properly. Well, I say properly, this is the most improper way you can do it, but it's just it's the easy way of dealing with it, and it's the way I can recommend to anyone that's following along. How it works is that the witches are invisible, but every so often will appear visible to try and attack or spawn a minion. But if they try and come in to spawn a minion, they won't be able to since I'm on 0 insight. So they'll just sort of sit around, walking around doing nothing, allowing us to get the backstab and get a free visceral, because charged up backstabs do the same as a parry shot. Although it says the Witch of Hemwick, the reason why I call it the Witches of Hemwick, because there is a second one here, but its health bar won't show until the first one dies. But you can quite easily kill the second one without its health bar ever actually appearing on the screen, because it will just appear as frequently as the first. And you will see me actually try and do that as we go through. I don't do it in the end because I end up getting muddled on which one's which, but I just go for it anyway. Because you can tell which one's the less injured one just because of how much blood's on them. So you can see me walking on. So this one's already got blood on it, so this is the main one that I'd already attacked. And so its health bar's going to significantly drop again. I think I'll put a few more slashes, but I think I stop just because I don't want to kill it yet, because the other one's still at full health and I want to put the other one down a bit. Alright, let's see. See, this one's clean, so this one's the other one. Which is why the health bar doesn't move, because I'm actually attacking the other one. And I think, yeah, I go for this instead. And I completely miss. This one's more blooded, but I don't think it's as bloody as the other one, so I go for it. Yeah, it's the right one. And now at this point, they're both at low enough health that I don't mind killing either or, so I can just sort of go for it if I choose to. That's their only decent attack. They can also do a grab attack, but the likelihood of that is well, not high enough. And then here goes the other one. And there goes both the witches. End off. That's as simple as that. Just walk up and down, backstab them, get them both relatively low, and then just kill. And the minions can't do anything because you didn't have any insight until the boss finished, which is why you saw them for like half a second there, because they were supposed to spawn in as we got the insight. If you follow the path down here, this is what you need to start using runes or glyphs or whatever they're called onto your armor. I think that said rune workshop tool, so yeah. And it's literally in the workshop, there's a little altar in the back, and you just go there and you can equip them.
Welcome. Very well.
But yeah, that's the whole of Hemwick Charnel Lane for now. We will be heading back to that once we get the Canehurst summons, just so we can get access to Castle Canehurst. But that's not until much later, so don't worry about that yet. Now we can equip, yay! I think I'll go Lake, Communion and Formless Odin. Just because I don't use beast mode at all, so I didn't bother, so yeah. And the fourth one, that blue one there that wasn't accessible, that's essentially your Covenant. If we're using Dark Souls terms, it's what League or whatever you choose, because you've got the League, you've got Vile Bloods, you've got Hunter of Hunters, you've got Beasts and Kinhood. There's things like that you can get later on. I'm not sure if I get all of them, I think I get most of them. But they're only really helpful for, like, most of them are only really helpful for like PvP, or just if you're helping a buddy's world out. Now I'm going to rebuild back all my insight that I've lost, and use some Cold Bloods. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up this part. So next time on Bloodborne, we're going to let a kidnapper kill us, and we're going to go to the Hyperion Gaol, or Yargul the Unseen Village as the description will tell you it's called. And from there we're going to clear it out, and we're going to deal with a boss much earlier than we have any right to go and do it. And so it'll be ridiculously hard, but until then, you guys take care now.